Okay, so we're just gonna get started. Does everyone have one of these? It's from the front. I would pencil. I would probably use a pencil. If you've already started with pen, that's quite bold of you, especially you fall semester kids. So maybe pencil it is.
You already started with pencil.
So how we're gonna structure this is we're gonna do like a page at a time. I tried to leave space when I knew that we were gonna be like lecturing and like taking notes. Unfortunately, I do not have access to a smartboard. So I'm gonna be writing off to the side. Unfortunately for all the kids that are joining us online, because you won't be able to see any of my writing. But you know, you snooze, you lose. So we're gonna start off by doing that very first page. If you want to jot down your answers in pencil, I strongly recommend that. Anytime that you are a graph is mentioned, obviously I would draw it. I would sketch it out. Fall semester kids, try to lean on your spring semester friends of like labeling, things like that. Okay, so I'm going to give you, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions on the first page. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to work just on the first page. Go ahead. Hopefully you have your notes with you and you can take them out.
Yeah, he's got me. Super smart. Shifters. The shifter applies technology, information.
I think you made that.
What's the acronym? Like, what's that thing for the AG? Like, what's the shifters of aggregates?
Yeah, CIGSM.
Oh, yeah, C.
The equation for GDP. Welcome. Yes. So I'm going to put you off to the side here. So there's 2 FAQs. Pick your choice. Whatever FAQ you do, I grade. Whatever FAQ you don't do, okay. You're welcome.
So, but it's the net. That's what I was saying. That's it. That's technology. Shift to your right. Yeah. Why did that take me so much shift to the
It is seeing those 2. I'll just tell you that. Grab a packet and then join a group.
Yeah, no, I oh, it's that.
Gonna give you about 5 more minutes to work on just the front page. Just the front page. Some of you were bold and chose to do pens. Then we have got extra copies. Children, it's nice to see you. Sophia, you decided to come.
Scott.
Grab a packet, find a place to just and a snack. And
Is it in Scott? Yeah, I said like right beside him. Oh, that's awesome.
you are yes. And
Oh, y'all just like talked about that? Oh, y'all talked about the ones y'all don't like that. And he was like, hey, Josh, let's see, like, Warren Dawson's Scott. He's so that's very likely that yeah, it's wrong. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, it's definitely one of these two. But it didn't move. Okay, I'm not taking notes. Notes, my some notes. I mean, it's definitely not A. It's not D. I really feel as though it's one of these two.
okay, about one more minute.
I remember that astrology is short. Sorry, technology is so if one shifts to if supply shifts to left, demand shifts to right. Are you one of those that like moves the task completely? I was in your class. You don't have any writing on yours. So all of the tests you turn in are just completely
Okay, ding, 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 ding. Should have brought my bell/gong. Okay, let's look at the first question here. It says, if a certain combination of goods services lies outside of the PPF curve of an economy, which the following is true. So notice how there's some, this is not touchable. Notice how there's some space here. So we're going to use this space to take a little bit of notes. Just to recap on PPF curves. Because half of y'all desperately want lecture, half of you don't. So I'm doing a little combo thing. All right. What are the two things on a default graph? What are the two axes on a PPF curve? Capital goods and consumer goods. This is a curvy PPF curve. If it is curvy, what is the name in that slope? Increasing. We'll talk about the different slopes in a second on the next page. But right now, a point inside the curve is possible. Ooh, I can't write. It's possible, but it's inefficient because you are not using all of your resources. You're not using all of your land, labor, capital, human capital, and entrepreneurship. Those are the factors of production. If you are on the curve, you are using all of your resources. That's full employment, so it's efficient and possible. Also, a point inside the curve could also be described as a recession. Is a recession possible? Yes. Is it efficient? No, it's not. While on the curve is full employment. I want you to lock eyes with someone at your table, and I want you to mouth the numbers of unemployment rate that we consider full employment in the United States? I said bounding, but fine. 4 to 6%. 4 to 6% unemployment. Not even the range that we talked about. Okay, 4 to 6%. Outside the PPF curve, it's just not possible. Unless our PPF curve shifts, then it is possible. So on the very first question, it's talking about a PPF curve. There's a point that lies outside. So that would be a point out here. So the correct answer here is resources are not available to achieve that combination of goods and services. That is letter C on that very first question. Okay, to stay where I'm not like scrolling back up and forth, let's talk about an advance in technology. Okay, so let's talk about, there is a crossover, an overlap between aggregate supply and demand and PPF curve. They're similar, but not the same. So like the PPF curve is most likely which line on aggregate supply and demand? Long run aggregate supply. They both show production. They both show potential production. That's like one of the P's in PPF. And so potential production will change, or the PPF curve will shift when there's a change in resources. When there's a change in land, labor, capital, human capital, and entrepreneurship. But if the PPF curve specifically shifts to the right, like that's the direction, we call that long run economic growth. So if there's a change in technology, that's going to affect the production. So if there was an answer choice that says short run aggregate supply to the right, that could have been right. But the only way that says is to the left. Aggregate demand is just spending. So this is technology is a change of resources, a change of production. So the only one that makes sense is E, long run aggregate supply curve to the right. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. All right, I kind of just answered this question, but which of the following would indicate that economic growth has occurred? Only if the PPF curve shifts to the right, which is not an answer choice, but we just said that the PPF curve and long run aggregate supply are the same thing. So long run aggregate supply shifting to the right, which is letter B, is our answer choice. More spending, which is C, more spending does not grow the economy. It grows inflation, sure, but it does not grow the, that's like saying an inflationary gap is good. Let's have more inflationary gaps. No. And so long run aggregate supply shifting to the right, LRAS, and the PPF curve shifting to the right, those are the same. Every time that we've like written it down in an FRQ, it's always been on PPF form. But these two are the same. So you're going to see LRAS shifting to the right as multiple choice questions like we do here. But if you were to draw it on an FRQ, chances are they're going to have you draw it on a PPF curve. Oh, quickly, by the way, I need a fall semester kid to tell me what goes on the y-axis and x-axis of this graph. Price level and GDP. Besides GDP, what else could we say? Y. Okay. You can also say Q. But, you know, whatever. Okay. The most important question, I think, on this whole front page is this one right here. Because all the other ones are pretty simple. Pretty simple. This one right here, I believe I gave it to both kids, fall and spring semester, on the test. And it was one of the most missed questions for both of y'all. Okay. All right, so it says an increase in which of the following? Did anyone draw little up arrows next to every single one of their answer choices? Because that would be a great test-taking strategy, Madison.
Thank you.
Yeah, to have little up arrows so you remember which direction these things are going in. Because some questions will say a decrease in which of the following, while some of them say an increase in which of the following. And if you flip-flop the direction that it's going as you're reading the question, you are not going to be successful. So put little up arrows. Unfortunately, I cannot draw on the screen. I would put little up arrows next to increase in consumption spending, increase in investment tax credits, increase the natural rate of unemployment, increase the trade deficit, and increase real interest rates. Okay, I want you to write off to the side, over here, an increase in FOPs. Economic growth is an increase in FOPs. factors of production: land, labor, mainly capital, human capital, and entrepreneurship. If you put A, no, bad, 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 shame. Because more consumer spending does not shift production. It does not give you more land, labor, capital. More spending doesn't do jack. Buying pizza doesn't do anything. Making pizza because you have more pizza ovens is what grows the economy. So consumer spending, I want you to write off to the side, shifts AD, shifts aggregate demand, but not the PPF curve. Consumer spending, an increase of consumer spending, shifts aggregate demand, but it does not shift the PPF curve. Next to E, real interest rates, very wrong. If it said a decrease in which of the following, sure, decreasing interest rates makes loans cheaper and you can take out a loan to buy a pizza oven and make more pizzas. But an increase in real interest rates, I need to write off to the side, loans expensive, economic growth goes down. Loans expensive, long run economic growth goes down. We're looking for it going up. What's the correct answer? A decrease of investment tax credits. Okay, can anyone put that in like English?
That means that you get more credit on tax and tax.
Make it dumber. Can you like dumb it down?
Your income, you're just supposed to.
Oh my god, I said dumber. Okay. Hey, fall semester kids. When I say investment spending, what am I talking about? Business spending. So businesses also pay taxes. And so this is saying that you will get a credit towards your taxes if you do business spending. But how is that different than consumer spending? What do you think businesses are going to spend money on? They're going to spend money on either land or labor or capital or human capital. And so lowering investment tax credits, they are incentivized to do investment spending and buy pizza ovens because now their taxes go down if they get pizza ovens. And of course, if you were given free money so you get pizza ovens, you're probably going to do the thing that you get pizza ovens for, whatever. Okay. Any questions on this one? Probably this entire unit boils down to this question. Consumer spending and change in GDP does not equal economic growth. Does not equal economic growth. Okay. Scrolling down. An economy operating a point inside its PPF curve. Okay. Inside its PPF curve, we just said that's possible. It's not efficient. It's a recession. Which of the following will most likely cause the economy to move towards its current PPF curve? They call it whatever. Not what causes it to shift, but what causes a movement from, let's say, I don't know, point A to point B. So point A, we're not using all of our resources, but point B, we are using all of our resources. We don't have more resources because that would be a shift. We just are currently using the resources that are available to us on this question. And so this was, fall semester kids, you've seen this question before. Increase of employment is the correct answer. That means you are, I actually want to make notes and annex every single answer choice here. Okay, decrease in investment spending. I want you to write decreases aggregate demand, no change to PPF. So on letter A, a decrease in government spending lowers aggregate demand, but there's no change to the PPF curve. On B, a decrease in inflation. Just because resources are cheaper doesn't make them more of them. Resources are cheaper, but there's not more resources or less resources. There's just cheaper resources. Human capital, increasing human capital, that's a shift. And we are looking for a movement on this answer choice. Letter C, if you probably put letter C if you got this wrong, you are shifting the PPF curve when you should have just made a movement from one point to another. D is the correct answer here because now you're full employed. You go from unemployment to full employment. You're now using all your resources on D. So using all resources on D, that's good. That's why it's the right answer. And on E, once again, just like A, that's a change of aggregate demand, not a change of the PPF curve. So both A and E, even though there's an increase or decrease, that's spending, not production. Anyone have a question on this one? You need to repeat anything that I said. Going once, going twice. Okay. Last question here. Which of the following will occur in a competitive market when the price of a good is less than the equilibrium price? So this is one of those microeconomic questions that sometimes occasionally pop in to a macro test. But you know, we've done supply and demand enough that the same concepts apply when it's just, whether it's like currency or money or whatever, it all applies to just a product. So let me erase my graph here. And on wherever you have space next to this question, I need you to draw a supply and demand graph. Not aggregate, just a regular supply and demand graph. So instead of price level, just the price. Quantity over here. Kind of looks like a currency graph. We got demand sloped downwards, labeled D, supply sloped upwards, labeled S. The laws of supply and demand say that we should be at equilibrium price. At equilibrium price, that point right there is on the demand curve, but it's also on the supply curve. So at that price level, supply and demand are the same. At that price, consumers and producers are happy. But unfortunately, it says the price of a good is less than the equilibrium price. So the price comes in that is lower than what supply and demand says it should be. So here's the price that it's set at. So add that to yours. So I'll say low price. We want to be in equilibrium. At equilibrium, everything is balanced and we're right as rain. So what will prices have to do to get back to equilibrium? They'll have to increase. So you can get rid of prices will decrease, and prices will decrease, and prices will remain constant. They want to go back to equilibrium. The question is, does this low price create a shortage or a surplus? Well, at this price, this is the supply curve. At that price, you hit the supply curve here. So that price, the quantity supplied, is here, this quantity. But at that price, you hit the demand curve way the heck over here. And that price, that's the point of quantity demanded. What do you think you get when you have low prices where there's lots of quantity demand? Quantity demand is everybody wants the thing at that price, but there's very little supply. What S word would it be when there's so much more demand than there is supply? This is a shortage. How do you think businesses get rid of shortages? They raise the price. You saw this during COVID. Whenever there was a shortage on hand sanitizer, face masks, you saw people jacking up the price of hand sanitizer and face masks because we would have paid more for them. We wanted to pay more for them as long as we got them. So that's basic economics. That's microeconomics. Okay, flip to the back. Any questions about the front page? Okay, flip to the back. Okay, you have only 3 questions here. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and not even that, probably, the 5 minutes to do these 3 questions on the back here.
So I was trying to look. Well, I think it's over. Please.
I started to dabble too. Do you like my style? Yeah, I just like I don't have any resemblance.
I mean, it's good. So
Okay, seems like because I'm talking, it seems like we're done with that second page. Okay, so scrolling. All right, can someone define opportunity cost for me? Second best choice. What you give up for something else. Can someone tell me opportunity cost of coming to AP tutoring today? You really would be sleeping right now?
Yes.
Okay, socializing, track practice, work, eating. All right, so opportunity cost exists because of what word? Oh, say it correctly. Scarcity. Okay. That's why we make choices. We make choices because of scarcity. If resources were unlimited, then we would never have to make choices. When it comes to beer or milk, the cost of the beer is the milk that you can no longer buy because your resources are scarce. Do you remember that? So flashback for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe the room in your fridge is scarce. Maybe the money that you have is scarce. Maybe, I don't know, basket space is scarce. So on that first question, if the supply of resources were unlimited, is the correct answer. All right, human capital can be achieved by which of the following? First off, what is human capital? Human capital is education, yes. So off to the side, human capital is education. That's different than labor. Labor is just people. So if I have a pizza shop, I could hire more people. I could to get more pizzas. Or what else could I do to increase my human capital? I can train them. I can give them some sort of video to watch, and now they're trained better. Someone give me an example of capital. Pizza ovens. Okay. Yes, let's use a different example. This is machines. This is an assembly line like yeah, but cars is like the product. This is the thing that makes the cars. I just don't know the name of the thing that makes the cars. What?
A conveyor.
A conveyor belt.
Yeah.
Ford.
That's the product. That's the product.
This is okay. So AP tests throughout this term a couple years ago. I hated it. They said plant and equipment. They also said research and development, R&D, research and development. Those are all fancy ways to say pizza oven. This is going to be your machines that make other machines. And so plant and equipment, the plant is the actual factory, while the equipment is everything in the factory. That's capital. Okay, so human capital can be achieved by which of the following? This is going to be improving the quality of job training, I'm assuming programs. Okay, but increasing, okay. A is capital. B is labor. C is human capital. Okay, that's the right answer. Increasing the physical capital per worker is just saying each of you now has to do work on 2 pizza ovens instead of 1 pizza oven per person. So that's not making each person more, maybe it has the potential for them to be more productive, but that's not making them educated. That's just giving them more work to do. Yeah, maybe like I can, it's like giving 2 people, like giving 1 person 2 shovels. It's like I can only do 1 shovel. All right. And last question. You might recognize this. This came from a quiz. We have t-shirts and chairs. What are those numbers?
They're opportunity costs.
Yes, but they are points that make up the PPF curve. These are all plotting points. And those are all like, this is production points. If you were to graph that and like label A, B, C, D, E, F, you would be making the entire PPF curve. And it shows the production possibilities for country X in producing shirts and chairs when using all of available resources, the opportunity cost of producing an additional chair. And it does not matter where stop it. William, stop. Okay, it doesn't matter where you start. So every time that you make 1 more chair, how many shirts do you lose at first? And again, and again, and again. So what's the opportunity cost? It's the same opportunity cost throughout, so it's constant. The only types of opportunity cost that you can have is either increasing or constant. So next to it, let's draw some PPF curves and say the differences between the 2. All right, so here we have an increasing PPF curve. It's technically called increasing opportunity cost PPF. And then here we have a constant opportunity cost PPF. Okay, increasing, the slope is getting steeper. And the slope would be getting steeper because slope represents opportunity cost. So I'm going to throw some numbers on here. It's not going to look pretty. It's not going to be to scale. Okay, so let's say that this is like, I don't know, 4, 5, and 6. When I made 4 of these products, I was making 20 of these. But I just need to make 1 more. Well, the slope is definitely steeper between here and here, between like 4 and 5 than like earlier. So I lose, let's say 10. So now I'm only making 10. Wait, did I do this math right? I need to give myself some more space. Sorry. 15. I lost 5. So to make 1, let's put y and x. To go from 4 to 5x units, you lose 5 y units. To go from 4 to 5, I lose 5. But to go from 5 to 6, I lost 5 before, but now because of an increasing slope, I'm going to be losing 10. I'm only going to have 5 left. So lose 5 here, and now you lose 10. The slope is increasing. And so let me write that off to the side. To go from 5 to 6 units of x, you lose 10 units of y. What type of goods would be graphed on an increasing PPF curve? Goods that are that use different resources. So this would be, so remember, this is going to be different resources, different FOPs are used to make goods X and Y. So it'd be like skateboards and rice. Completely different resources go in the production of skateboards and rice. But a constant PPF curve, well, that's basically the same resources. So here, the same FOPs are used to make X and Y. So it's going to be the same ratio. The slope is constant. So it's like 2, 3, 4. The slope is going to be the same. It'll be like 20, I don't know, 15. Nope, let's just do this. Yeah, 20, 15, and then 10. It's a difference of 5 each time. I get 1 more X, I lose 5Y. I get 1 more X, I lose 5Y. I get 1 more X, I lose 5Y. Here, same thing. I get 1 more chair, I lose 4 shirts. I get even 1 more chair, I still lose 4 shirts. The differences between these things are the same. It's 4 every single time. And therefore, the slope would be constant. It's assuming that t-shirts and chairs are made with the same materials. And be a constant PPS curve, it would just be straight. Okay. Now let's practice some FRQs. Okay. The FRQ that I am giving you is the only microeconomic FRQ that's just using that supply and demand term from before that I could find on AP Classroom for AP Macro. So, like, I do not expect you to get an FRQ that is so microeconomic. You will get an FRQ over monetary policy, I can guarantee you that. Especially since they changed monetary policy this year. They're probably going to test to see if people know it or not. It doesn't matter why they changed. It just matters that they did. And so I'm going to give you some time to work on this. Maybe pencil. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 minutes.
There's two shifts. I don't know how big the shifts are. Are they the same intensity of shifts? And it's still my business. And we're also talking about intermediate. No, you're the price of what the price. Your graph is like your labels on the axis. No, you don't know.
For you or for a friend?
That's correct. I can't tell.
That was supposed to bring. That's supposed to.
Well, no, oh, you're on vacancy? Oh, no.
Oh my god. Any questions?
Oh, I definitely.
So there's no light.
It's one second. Oh, it was like.
So it's your.
Critical.
Okay, seems like most of us are wrapping up. Let's go over this. So I will buy every single one of you guys a copy if an FRQ is like this year. That is how confident I am, that is
That would be so
not going to be. Okay, if that's the case, we're going to the pound, we'll get some rescues, okay? On here, we are talking about supply and demand of a single product. So we're not talking about aggregate, we're just talking about supply and demand. Just like supply and demand of currency is just supply and demand of the dollar, that's one thing. In the money market graph, that's just the supply and demand of money. In the reserve market graph, it's just the supply and demand of reserves. So we're not talking about aggregate here. So it gives you numbers. Please use them. It says use the numerical values above to draw a correctly labeled graph of the market for gadgets showing each of the following. So here we have price, quantity, demand is sloped downwards, supply is sloped upwards, but the equilibriums, instead of putting P's and Q's, it has numbers. The equilibrium price is $6. The equilibrium quantity of gadgets is 500. So this is A. On B, it says at the price of $8 per unit, will there be a surplus, shortage in the market, and explain. Well, it's not asking you to draw it, but I'm going to draw it anyway. $8 is above 6, because, you know, numbers. And you hit the demand curve here. That's the quantity demanded. It's less than 500. You hit the supply curve here. That's the quantity that is supplied, which is more than 500. So the quantity supplied, this is B, the quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded. There's at $8, there's going to be a lot of businesses that want to sell because that's a lot of profit. It should be 6, but they're selling it for more. So businesses are going to be like, I'm going to sell as much as I can. But at that price, I can't afford that price. So there's less demanded at that price. And so because there's more supply than there is demand, there is going to be a surplus. A surplus of gadgets because the quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded. That's the answer. That's the reason why. It says, okay, now assume gadgets. No, be quiet. It says, now assume gadgets have become more popular. On your graph in part A, show the effect of an increase of gadgets' popularity on the equilibrium price and quantity of gadgets. So I'm going to kind of erase my little thing here. If they become popular, what shifts, supply or demand? Demand. People want to buy things. If they're popular, demand's going to shift to the right. You have a new demand curve, demand 2. You have a new equilibrium point. P2 and Q2. And so we have to show, it says, show the effect of the increase of gadgets' popularity on the equilibrium price. So you just have arrows between your original quantity and your new quantity, your original price and your new price. Or you can write off to the side. You can say P goes up and Q goes up on letter C. On D, it says assume instead there's an increase in the price of tin, a major input. Okay, so supply shifters are the same as aggregate supply. Number of sellers, input prices, technology, expectations, productivity. And if tin is a major input in the production of gadgets, it's going to affect how many gadgets you can produce. So what is the effect of the increase of price of tin on the market of gadgets? It's not asking you to draw it, it's asking you to just talk about it. And so you're just going to say the supply of gadgets decreases since input prices are higher. Since input prices have gone up, the supply of gadgets have gone down.
You have to put input price?
What is the effect? It technically did not say explain. So you could have just said supply decreases.
Well, I said decrease, but I said because they would become more expensive. You have to explain before.
I said it's.
Okay, you becoming more expensive is the price of it, right? Remember, the one thing that doesn't shift any curve is whatever the y-axis is labeled. The y-axis is labeled price. So by saying it shifts because of the price, is you have just said something and then directly contradicted what you said. So if you just said supply decreases because it's more expensive to produce, that's fine. But if you just said supply decreases because it is more expensive, first off, what it is it gadgets or is it tin? And then if it was gadgets, price of gadgets would shift gadgets because it's on the y-axis. Price doesn't create the price level doesn't shift as supply and demand. Inflation doesn't shift in Phillips curve. Interest rates do not shift money market nor the loanable funds graph.
Could I have said if price of tin increases, then the supply of gadgets decreases, and then the price of gadgets increases?
That's fine. You're just giving me extra information. And
What if I said the cost of one of its factors of production increased?
did you say what happened to supply?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Isn't it just like B though, like it's more expensive?
B is saying that there's nothing that caused it to be more expensive. B is saying I'm just marking up my prices.
Also, if I labels the YPL.
Don't label YPL only on average supply and demand. Okay. And last but not least, this one's tricky. It says, okay, if both changes, both the demand change that on part C and the supply change in part D simultaneously, what will happen to the equilibrium quantity of gadgets? Will it increase, decrease, remain the same, or undetermined? All right, so here's where I would draw it. Okay, boop, 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 boop. I have a demand curve that shifts to the right. Boop, 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 boop. Higher prices, higher quantity. But then I also have a supply apparently decreasing because input prices are higher, whatever. Supply goes to the left. Look at that. Even higher prices. Prices are definitely going to go up because, well, both shifts make them go up. But it's asking about quantity. And now we have, wait, hold on. It went up with one shift, down with the other, but that's just the way that I drew it because I could have had a tiny demand shift and a really big supply shift or vice versa. And because you do not know the size and intensity of the shifts of supply or demand, it is indeterminate. And the reason behind that is because with demand shift, quantity went up. But with supply shift, quantity went down. I don't know which one outweighs the other. It's indeterminate. Any questions on that FRQ? Okay, let's do the back page. I'm going to give you some time. You probably already have. I see many people have already worked on it. To work on the circular flow model at the top, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll talk about these 3 questions at the end, and then we'll be done. So right now, you are just working on the circular flow model on the back. Why are you Did everyone get a chance to sign in on the sign-in sheet that ran around?
No.
Yeah.
What was that?
Oh, I
me.
Yeah, I did. I put a heart on your eye.
I have to. I can pay for this, so I said this to you. So I'll
I got my name down tomorrow.
No, it's not. It's paid per hour, not per student. But basically, I'm scanning the district, it'll be like, hey, Scott, your name is here. You actually have tutoring or something like.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Why's your name down? Ooh.
It's like when you look, I didn't miss that. I can also use that.
Hey, use the actual word box that they give you. You see at the top, there's word boxes. Maybe those are relevant. Just maybe. And it even has like instructions to label it in different colors even. Some people already draw the buildings, but they're wasting their time. Learning is kind of close enough social.
Green arrows.
That's not.
We also don't want green arrows don't work.
Oh.
That you just didn't know. Everything else was like everything else. Yes.
No, no,
But it's just silly stuff that you focus so hard on, like just monetary policy, and you're like, oh, I know this will flow. And then you get a question, and you're like, crap, that's such an easy question. But you're focused lots of things that you want to. If I was here, it's better that you wear your pants to school.
I have track practice. I'm an athlete, student athlete. I was there before. Had to stop to a little bit of student thing. Okay, literally, bye.
Really?
Bye.
A girl like that, beautiful, smart, like athletic. Life used to be a little hard.
Voted drunk.
Ah. Oh, I didn't know that. Is that true?
Most argumentative.
Gotta not gotta make it fair.
I was like,
No, people say for the rate of saving more than interesting.
See, you're young.
I was saving.
Zero.
Down. So I don't know any.
Zero. Now you spend all of it. Alright.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Now you can get part. This center box is really hard. Wait, don't copy mine. I feel like I did.
Okay, let's go over our circular flow model. All right. Because you could have circled product or factor market up top. Which one did y'all circle? Yay, okay, good. Because I didn't want to confuse anybody. I also circled product market up top and factor market on the bottom, which means in the top you should have, using the very words that they are saying, you should have money going from the house to the business and the product market, but that money, that the words that they use is payment for purchases. Payment for purchases. While in return, in the product market, we are getting the goods and services. On the factor market, which is the market below, doesn't always have to be. You could have circled factor market up top, but you guys did exactly the way that I taught it in. That's just fantastic. So from the houses to the business, the money that's going is, does anyone recognize those wages, rent, interest, profit? That seems really familiar, almost like an equation. It's the GDP equation, the income approach. So wages, rent, what do they say? Interest and profit. While in return, households are getting, oh my son of a.
No, it's not wages.
No.
It's labor. Right?
Yay, I was right.
Just gonna quickly just move the arrow.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
Boom.
I am human. I make mistakes. Yeah, we earn wages, rent, interest, and profit. But what do we give businesses? We give them land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. We give land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship.
So what do you mean? How do we earn?
Okay, so that's a good question. Majority of us are going to be earning wages, but because we live in a capitalist economy and not a communist economy, it's the households that own resources, not the government that owns resources. So that means households, individual people own private property and land, and we own all the machines, and we rent it out. And so we rent it out, then we might charge interest. We sell our ideas and our entrepreneur ideas, and we earn a profit. But most of us are probably just going to sell our labor and earn a wage. But like in a capitalist economy, its resources are owned by the government, and so the government would be the one that would be receiving wages, rent, interest, and profit because they'd be lending out all the resources. Okay, I'm gonna add something to this. I'm gonna add leakages. I know. And injections. Remember, money that leaks out is a leakage. Money that comes in is an injection. The biggest leakage is savings, but also taxes. And when we buy imports, that's money leaving our country and going to probably China, because that's where we buy a lot of our stuff. Injections. Okay. Where do we save money, kids? What graph are you referring to? The loanable funds market. In the loanable funds market, just quick little sketch. We'll do loanable funds a different day. But on the y-axis, we have real interest rates, quantity of loanable funds, demand, supply. The more you guys save money in a bank, you'll never guess what happens to the interest rate. The more you guys save, interest rates goes down, businesses take out loans. How does it get injected back in? As a business loan. You did not know loanable funds market when we first talked about this, but because of the loanable funds market, savings get injected back in as a business loan. Taxes get injected back in as public services. You're welcome. Right now, you are enjoying the benefits of that. And imports get injected back in, hopefully, as an export. Unless you have a balance of trade, like a positive or negative net exports, and they're not totally balanced. We'll talk about trade agreements later. All right, let's do those last three questions, and then we're done. Someone already said this, but I'll bring it to your attention. The short run, on these last questions, it says on PPF curves, show and explain short run and long run probable outcomes for each of the situations. In the short run, you can only have a movement or a point on the PPF curve. While in the long run, the PPF curve will shift. So your answers on long runs should be shifts, but your answers for short runs should just be either where you are currently located as point-wise on the PPF curve or point to point. So I'm going to give you some time to come up with a short run and long run outcome for each three of those, and then we'll go over.
So that's just a short run. On the one. But long run, savings rate. Good thing you're here. While you're in little reading house, maybe talk about like what makes the best interest rates.
Don't forget, show and explain means a picture and an explanation. Yes. No.
No.
But so since they're saving us, they have no choice. But if they're saving us, there's no one in the banks for them to take money out. So there's less investment.
Yeah, I wonder when I saw that. I wonder if only one of those. I'm sorry. Put them over the,
Like business is also saving.
Do businesses save? I'm pretty sure they don't.
Hey. Bro, what?
They find them like,
Yeah,
and
right.
then like put it into like another. Like,
There's
they're
no
not saving,
real
like,
point to
there's
say.
a rainy day.
There's no point for us to say. People said, if you just let it stop.
Look how much faster.
Shit.
Okay, let's talk about short run, long run effects of these things. Okay. So it's more important that you focus on your explanations than the drawings. Because, well, all right. Although Americans have been at full employment since 1994, our savings rate has dropped from 6 to 0%. It does not say interest rate. It says savings rate. That is the rate of our savings. That's like MPS. I was saving 6%, now I'm saving 0% of my income. All right. So in the short run, I literally parked up my markers. Okay. In the short run, you're starting at full employment. How do you know that? It literally says Americans are at full employment. So in the short run, you're just on the curve. Doesn't matter where you are. You could be here, here, wherever. You are starting there at point A. But our savings rate, okay, what does that have to do with anything? This is the percentage of your income that you are saving. Where do you save money in again? In the bank. So I would, you got time, you got room, I would draw a loanable funds market. A loanable funds market is the supply and demand of money in the bank available for loans. You got real interest rates, quantity of loanable funds, demand, supply, equilibriums. If savings are going down, that's going to be less supply of loans. Less supply of loans means supply of loans shifts to the left, and that raises the interest rate. Well, that's not good because that makes loans expensive. Loans to buy, I don't know, land, labor, capital, human capital, entrepreneurship. If loans are expensive, businesses cannot invest. If they cannot invest, that means less production in the long run. So in the long run, it is a leftward shift because loans are expensive and it's going to be less capital goods. Or less capital stock, remember that term? Less capital stock in the long run. Arm. What?
Oh my god.
Yes, we did. We just started at A. There was no change in the short run. It's just we are beginning at point A. Lindy, speak.
Could you move it down because there's more consumer spending? Because you're not saving your money, there's more
What does this
consumer
show?
spending.
What does it show?
Capital and consumer.
Production. It does not show spending. So having spending changes shown here is hard to do because this shows production.
Wait, so what is consumer production?
No, it's production of consumer goods. It's the production of pizza rather than production of pizza ovens. So you got capital, good production, and consumer goods. Okay, Duchess.
We did it as like, since you're saving less, that is like you're consuming more.
Consumption. Please turn to the front page. Look at the second question on the right hand side. Does consumption, does spending do anything to the PPF curve? No, it does not.
But would it be wrong if you think?
Yes, probably.
Because a consumer's gonna spend more on consumer goods. If you spend more money on consumer goods, you're gonna automatically shift. You're spending less on your capital, so.
Hey, Ceci, I would like to buy 15 cookies from you right now. I have the money. Do you have the resources? But I have the money. I would like to buy it right now. I demand cookies. Do you have the resources? See how that works or doesn't? Just because you have money to spend and people want things does not mean you have the resources to do them. But with lower interest rates, you can take out more loans to invest in more resources.
Are we seeing that businesses like don't save any?
Businesses don't save. Why would they?
Yeah, they wouldn't spend.
Like they wouldn't spend 100% of their money.
They pay their.
The rest of it's a profit, and profit goes back into the business. Or they pay themselves and they get bonuses.
Yeah, they pay themselves. That's spending. That's the business spending is when you pay the CEO.
Okay, this next question. Following a deep recession, okay, we're getting inside the curve. We're in a deep recession. So we're starting in A. And it says government begins expansion of the interstate highway system. Okay, in the short run, this is FDR's New Deal. We're going to build roads, we're going to build bridges, we're going to put people back to work. That does not mean more people, that just means more employment. So in the short run, more jobs because highways require people to work on the highways is going to be from point A to point B because there's more employment for highway work, for highway repair or whatever. It's putting people back to work. But in the long run, if you put people to work and they build infrastructure, we are now more productive because we can get places work faster. And there's going to be more productivity of workers. We can, I don't know, send pizza ovens to different places. I don't know. You can just say, in the long run, there's going to be more productivity. And more productivity means the resources are more productive. And you can do that with infrastructure. That's why we have infrastructure, is to increase our productivity so you can get to work faster. If you need a stagecoach to get to work, it's going to take you a long time. But if you're on an interstate, wow, that means you can work longer because it only takes you 10 minutes to get there. All right, last but not least, although the U.S. has experienced 15% period of full employment, starting on the curve in this last one, we're fully employed.
Americans' fear of illegal immigration forces, wait, I can't read. American fears of illegal immigration, comma, I guess, forces Congress to adopt a policy to remove 11 million illegal immigrants from the American economy. Whether they're legal or illegal immigrants or natural born citizens, they are labor. And if you get rid of labor, you get rid of productivity. So in the short run, we're here, we're just there. We're fully employed. It doesn't really affect production in the short run because there's no movement change here. But in the long run, there's going to be less labor. And so there's going to be less production. And the PPF curve will shift inwards. Are there any questions?
Oh, no. Wait, what did you say?
The long run is a leftward shift. This is a leftward shift is the long run. You can only have shifts in the long run and point changes in the short run.
So the short run was A point.
Point A, short run, inward shift is long run because there's less labor, which is a resource.
Wait, so no change?
No change in the short run. Yeah.
No change in leftward shift.
Oh, I thought it changed.
Okay, kids?
Wait, so that means that it's outside, but then when it goes to.
No, you just are going to go along with it.
I thought it would go to the A.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, kiddos, have a good day. See you Thursday. GDP, unemployment, CPI, inflation, economic indicators, real and nominal.